You've been told your whole life that being a gentleman means staying quiet about what you want. What if that silence is exactly what's pushing women away? There's a truth hiding in plain sight, a truth that psychologists whisper about in their research, but that society has trained men to ignore. The things that actually make a woman feel deeply connected to you are often the very things you've been told never to do. This was never your fault. Nobody taught you this. The world handed you a rule book written by people who didn't understand how attraction actually works. You followed those rules, you stayed polite, you stayed safe, and somewhere along the way you lost something magnetic. Stay until the end because what I share in the final moments of this video changes everything about how you understand what women actually need from you. If this sounds like a conversation you've been waiting to have, tap like now, because we're about to go somewhere most content creators won't take you. This is where we reveal the hidden psychology of genuine connection between men and women. Research from the Kinsey Institute shows that women's attraction operates on levels far beneath conscious awareness. She's not making a checklist. She's not analyzing your behavior logically. Her nervous system is reading signals you don't even know you're sending. And here's what makes this so important. The signals that create the deepest attraction are often the ones you've been actively suppressing. Most men live their entire lives wondering why something always feels missing. They wonder why she seemed interested and then suddenly wasn't. They wonder why conversations feel pleasant but never spark anything deeper. The answer isn't that you're doing something wrong. The answer is that you're not doing something right. Something she's secretly hoping you'll do. Something she will never ask for with words. This is not manipulation. This is not a game. This is understanding the deeper language of human connection that exists beneath every conversation you'll ever have with a woman. The deliberate gaze hold. Most men look away the moment a woman catches their eyes. It's reflexive, it's protective, and it tells her everything she needs to know about your confidence. What women secretly want is for you to hold that gaze just 2 seconds longer than feels comfortable. Not staring, not aggressive, just present, unafraid. Dr. Arthur Aaron at Stony Brook University conducted research on mutual gaze and found that extended eye contact triggers the release of phenylethylamine, the same chemical the brain produces during the rush of new attraction. But here's what most men miss. It's not the eye contact itself that creates the spark. It's the willingness to stay in that moment of vulnerability without flinching. When you look away first, you communicate nervousness. When you hold her gaze with warmth and steadiness, you communicate something else entirely. You communicate that you're not afraid of intimacy, that you can be fully present with another person, that you're grounded enough to handle whatever she brings. Imagine this. You're at a quiet gathering. Across the room, a woman glances in your direction. Your eyes meet. Instead of the usual quick look away, you let your gaze rest on her for a breath longer. Your expression stays calm, open, maybe the hint of a smile at the corner of your lips. You watch her pupils dilate slightly. Her posture shifts almost imperceptibly toward you. That moment, that's the beginning of connection. That's what she's been waiting for. This communicates safety. It says you're a man who isn't frightened by closeness. And that changes everything. The weight of your full attention. In an age of constant distraction, undivided attention has become the rarest gift a man can give. When you're talking with a woman and your eyes drift to your phone, to the television, to other people walking by, you're communicating something specific. You're telling her that this moment isn't valuable enough to earn your complete presence. What women secretly crave is the opposite. She wants you to be so fully engaged that the rest of the world temporarily disappears. Psychologists call this quality presence. It's not about being intense, it's about being completely here. A woman once told me something I've never forgotten. She was in her late 50s, elegant, wise. She said the most attractive thing a man ever did for her was put his phone face down on the table, lean in slightly, and ask a follow-up question about something she'd mentioned 20 minutes earlier. She said it made her feel like the most important person in the world. Not because of grand gestures, because he was actually listening, because he remembered. Imagine you're having dinner. She's telling you about something that happened at work, something that frustrated her. Instead of waiting for your turn to speak, instead of offering solutions, you notice the slight tension around her eyes. You ask what that moment felt like for her. You let silence exist after she answers. You're not performing interest, you're genuinely curious about her inner world. That quality of attention communicates something words never could. It says you see her, not just her appearance, her. But the next one goes even deeper. The protective stance without being asked. There's a moment that happens so quickly, most men miss it entirely. You're walking together, a loud noise, a stranger getting too close, an uncertain moment in unfamiliar surroundings. What she secretly wants in that instant is to feel your body shift slightly closer to hers. Not dramatically, not possessively, just a subtle movement that says, I'm here, I'm aware, you're safe. Evolutionary psychology research from David Buss at the University of Texas shows that women's attraction systems are deeply wired to respond to signals of protection. But here's the crucial part that most people misunderstand. It's not about protecting her from actual danger. It's about communicating through your body that you're the kind of man who notices, who pays attention, who would respond if needed. I want to be clear about something. This is about awareness and care, not about control. It's about being present enough to sense when she might feel uncomfortable and grounded enough to respond naturally. A word of caution here, timing matters. This only works when trust is already being established. Done too early with someone you've just met, it can feel presumptuous. Done in the context of genuine connection, it's deeply reassuring. Imagine you're walking through a crowded place together. Someone brushes past her a little too closely. Without thinking, without announcement, you step slightly nearer. Your hand doesn't grab her arm. You don't make a scene. You just become more present, more solid, more there. She may not consciously register what you did, but her nervous system does, and she feels safer. This communicates something ancient and essential. It says you're paying attention to her well-being even when she's not asking for it. Think about it. When you move through the world with that kind of quiet awareness, what does it communicate about who you are? The initiated touch that builds trust. Physical touch is where most men either retreat entirely or move too fast. Both extremes miss what women actually want. What she secretly hopes for is appropriate, confident touch that escalates naturally as connection deepens. Researchers at the Touch Research Institute found that appropriate social touch releases oxytocin in both people, creating feelings of bonding and trust. But the key word is appropriate. Touch that feels rushed or presumptuous creates the opposite effect. It triggers her protective instincts. Touch that feels natural, gradual, and responsive to her energy creates a sense of safety and attraction simultaneously. The progression matters. A brief touch on the arm during conversation. Your hand at the small of her back as you walk through a doorway together. The gradual building of physical comfort over time. Each moment of touch, when done with awareness, asks a silent question and waits for her answer before continuing. Imagine this. You've been talking for an hour. The conversation has been flowing naturally. Something she says makes you laugh genuinely. In that moment of shared warmth, your hand briefly touches her forearm. Just for a second. You don't grab, you don't linger. Just a momentary contact that says, this moment matters. You notice her lean slightly toward you afterward. Her smile becomes warmer. That's connection building. This works because it honors her boundaries while still expressing your interest. It's not about tricks. It's about reading the moment and responding with emotional intelligence. And this next one is what most men never learn. The compliment that sees her soul. Most compliments men give fall flat because they focus on the obvious. Her appearance, her outfit, things she's heard 1,000 times before. What women secretly want is to be seen for something deeper, something most people miss. Dr. John Gottman's research on relationships shows that the strongest connections are built through what he calls turning toward, noticing the small things, acknowledging the details that reveal who someone really is beneath the surface. The most powerful compliment you can give isn't about how she looks. It's about what you've observed in her character. The way she listened so carefully to her friend at the table. The thoughtful pause before she answered a difficult question. The kindness in how she treated the waiter. These observations reveal that you're paying attention to her essence, not just her exterior. A woman in her early 40s shared something with me at a dinner party. She said the compliment that made her fall for her husband wasn't about her beauty or her intelligence. He told her that he noticed how she always made the quietest person in the room feel included. He said it showed a rare kind of generosity. She said no one had ever seen that about her before. 20 years later, she still remembers that moment. Imagine you're ending an evening together. Instead of saying you look beautiful, which she's heard countless times, you tell her that you noticed something. You tell her that the way she talked about her work revealed a passion that most people lose somewhere along the way. You say it's rare and it's wonderful. Watch what happens to her expression. Watch how she looks at you after that. This communicates that you see past the surface, that you're interested in the person, not the presentation. If this is resonating with you, hit subscribe now. Every video here reveals what she's really telling you through signals most men never learn to read. And what comes next goes even deeper. The silence that says everything. Most men are terrified of silence. They fill every gap with words because quiet feels awkward, uncertain, wrong. But there's a secret women have known forever. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply let silence exist. Psychologists who study communication have found that comfortable silence between two people is one of the strongest indicators of genuine intimacy. When you can sit with someone without the compulsion to fill every moment with noise, you're communicating something profound. You're saying that being together is enough, that her presence doesn't need to be earned through constant entertainment. This is not about being cold or distant. It's about being so comfortable with yourself and with her that words become optional rather than mandatory. Imagine you're sitting together at the end of an evening. The conversation has naturally slowed. Instead of grasping for another topic, you simply stay present, your body relaxed, your attention still on her, not staring intensely, just there, peaceful. She notices that you're not squirming to fill the space. She notices that you're calm, and in that calm, she feels permission to be calm too. Something softens between you. This communicates emotional security. It says you don't need external validation. You're not performing. You're simply being. The decision-making she's hoping for. There's an exhausting pattern in modern relationships. Endless negotiation about every small choice. Where to eat, what to do, when to meet. While women absolutely want respect and partnership, there's something secretly exhausting about being asked to make every decision. What women often secretly appreciate is a man who can suggest a plan with confidence while remaining genuinely open to her input. Not demanding, not controlling, just willing to lead when leadership is welcome. Research on decision fatigue shows that constant choice-making depletes mental energy. When you can occasionally say, "Let me take care of this one," rather than always asking, "What do you want to do?" you're giving her a gift. The gift of not having to decide. The gift of being cared for. This is about reading when she wants to be consulted and when she wants to be surprised. It's about developing the emotional intelligence to know the difference. Imagine she's had a long week. Instead of asking where she wants to go for dinner, you tell her you made a reservation somewhere you think she'll love. You tell her to just be there at 7 and leave the rest to you. You watch the relief wash over her face. The slight smile that says, "Thank you for taking this off my plate." That's what she's been hoping someone would do. This communicates that you're paying attention to what she needs, sometimes before she asks. And that kind of awareness creates deep attraction. None of this works without genuine care for the person in front of you. If your intention isn't honest, none of these approaches will create real connection. Women sense everything. They feel the difference between technique and truth. The power in what I'm sharing comes from it being real, from you actually caring about her experience, her comfort, her joy. This isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about removing the layers of hesitation and social training that have been blocking the best parts of who you already are. The man who can hold eye contact without fear. The man who gives his complete attention. The man who notices what others miss. That man is already inside you. These aren't tricks to learn. They're permissions to finally be fully present. Most men will never understand this. They'll keep playing it safe, staying in their heads, wondering why something always feels missing. But you're here. You clicked on this video. You stayed until now. That tells me something about who you are and who you're becoming. The 7 things women secretly want are not hidden because they're wrong or inappropriate. They're hidden because society taught everyone to be careful, polite, restrained. But restraint without presence is just absence. And women feel the difference. Every interaction you have from this moment forward is a chance to be more fully there, to give the gift of your complete attention, to communicate through your body that you're grounded, aware, and unafraid of genuine connection. If something in this video connected with you, tap like and hit subscribe. Comment the word presence below if you're ready to stop hiding and start showing up completely. And click the bell so you never miss what's coming next. What I'm sharing in the next video takes everything we talked about today and goes somewhere even more powerful. You don't want to miss it.